There is a place inside you try to hide. The insecurity, the weakness, the mistake you wish never happened, the flaw you pray nobody notices. You call it failure. You call it shame. You call it not good enough. But what if that place is holy ground? We live in a world that worships perfection, perfect bodies, perfect relationships, perfect success stories. Social media filters our faces. Comparison filters our worth. And slowly, we start believing that God can only use the polished version of us. But that's not how God works. God does not begin with perfection. He begins with surrender. Think about it. Moses had a speech problem. David was overlooked. Peter denied Jesus. Paul had a thorn he begged God to remove. And yet, those very imperfections became platforms for divine power. Because God's strength does not rest on perfect people. It rests on dependent ones. The crack in your confidence? That's where humility grows. The area where you keep falling, that's where grace becomes real. The weakness you hate? That's the doorway for God's strength. We think we must fix ourselves before coming to God. I'll pray when I'm stronger. I'll serve when I'm more disciplined. I'll step out when I feel confident. But God says, come as you are, because He is not intimidated by your brokenness. In fact, He is attracted to it. When Moses stood before the burning bush, God told him to remove his sandals because the ground was holy. But what made it holy? It wasn't the dirt, it wasn't the mountain, it was God's presence. And that place inside you that feels weak, when God steps into it, it becomes holy ground. Your anxiety, your past mistakes, your insecurity, your scars, when surrendered to Him, they become sacred spaces of transformation. The world says, hide your flaws. God says, bring them to me. The world says, prove yourself. God says, trust me. The world says, be strong. God says, let me be strong in you. There is something powerful about reaching the end of yourself, because that's where God begins. Perfection in God's kingdom doesn't mean flawlessness. It means completion, wholeness, transformation. And transformation always starts in the imperfect places. You don't need to impress God. You don't need to polish your wounds. You don't need to pretend you have it all together. The very thing you're embarrassed about might be the testimony that sets someone else free. The struggle you're ashamed of might become the strength that helps someone survive. Your imperfections are not disqualifications. They are invitations. Invitations for grace. Invitations for growth. Invitations for God's glory to be revealed through you. So stop despising the process. Stop cursing the weakness. Stop running from the part of you that feels inadequate. That place is not a curse. It's holy ground. Because when God touches what is broken, He doesn't just fix it. He transforms it. And one day, you will look back at the thing you once hated about yourself and realize it was the very place where God's perfection took root. So today, don't hide. Surrender. Don't strive. Trust. Don't wait until you feel perfect. Step forward in faith. Because your imperfections are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of God's masterpiece. And where you are weak, He will be glorified.